Welcome to the Fun Going Fast channel, and in today's video let's talk about 5 tips for new riders for riding a manual sport quad. Although these tips, except for the clutch, will work for anybody on any ATV. Let's get into it. Tip number 1. Listen to the motor to know when to shift. A strained, high-revving motor needs a shift to the next higher gear. Of course, you should be revving your engine as you're going through the gears, but you should not be holding a constant high-revving RPM. That means the ATV needs to be shifted. Conversely, a lugging motor that is about to die and you can hear it below idle needs to be shifted down to at least the next lower gear. If you don't shift down, you really increase the likelihood of stalling and not making it over the obstacle you're trying to ride over or the hill you're trying to climb. And you're not using the power very efficiently that your ATV is capable of making. All engines build power as they increase RPMs to a point. So if your RPMs are too low, you're making lower horsepower and you're not using the motor and its capability. Tip number 2. Use a lower gear when going down hills in combination with braking. With typical trail riding, quite often you can just go down to a lower gear and you won't even need to use the brakes. Now if you go down to such a low gear that the rear end and rear tires lock up, you geared down too many gears. Usually one gear down from what you were in approaching a downhill is enough, and then use a touch of brakes if you need to slow down some more. Which gets us into tip number 3. Learn to use your front and rear brakes together. Your rear brake alone will just lock up, especially when going down a steep hill. And when you lose traction, you lose control. Also, a locked up back brake will kill the engine and make it stall. And a locked up front brake means you're not going to be able to steer anymore. So learn to modulate the front and back together so you can slow down, but your tires don't lock up and you can maintain much more control. Tip number 4, stand up. When it's getting technical and you're feeling thrown around, stand up. Your legs are much stronger than your arms and can work much more efficiently with the ATV suspension to manage the terrain. Not only will you be able to ride faster, you'll be more in control and you'll get less fatigued over time. And it's critical that you're standing with neutral body position when you jump. If you're sitting when you go into the air, you won't have any control and you're not going to be able to make any adjustments until you hit the ground, which comes fast and could be not the most pleasant experience if you're coming in crooked and sitting. And finally, tip number 5. Another tip when going quicker or trying to ride faster over rougher or rocky terrain, keep a firm hand grip, but relax your arms. If your arms are completely locked up, you're going to get a lot of arm pump, and you're going to take a lot of shots to your arms and shoulders, which will also cause fatigue more quickly and make it more difficult to keep control of the quad. So stand up and learn to get an efficient combination of a good strong grip so that you're still steering and keep the handlebars in control of your hands, but you're not having your arms completely locked out and you're using your legs and ATV suspension to manage the terrain. Let me know if you have any other tips or tricks that work for you, and thanks for watching.